I've known Kamasi, wow, probably since he was 12, 13 years old. So, you know, we kind of grew up together. We definitely grew up listening to music and playing music together. And then eventually, when Kamasi started, you know, writing songs and kind of putting together his own groups, he would use me on drums on a lot of that. About 3 or 4 years ago, we realized that it was time to record a new record. Kamasi has 2 records out and one sort of EP. And it was about time to create a new record. And I think the catalyst that really sort of started Kamasi and our organization to like really focus on recording a record was he got a call from Jimmy Fallon to be on The Tonight Show. And Jimmy Fallon's people were like, hey, we want you to be on The Tonight Show. You got anything to like that's new that we can promote? And Kamasi's like, yeah, we got something new. Give me like 4 days. And so he calls everybody up and we just bail into a studio and like record Garden Path, which is a single of Fearless Movement, the first single. And like send it off to Fallon. He's like, great, come and perform it. And so we performed this single of this record that hadn't been made yet on Jimmy Fallon. And then when we were done with Jimmy Fallon, we're like, damn, we gotta make the rest of the record. I've recorded a ton of records here at Sunset Sound. I'm very familiar with all 3 of the rooms and very familiar with the history here. I mean, I think the first time I came in here, I was around like 16, 17 years old, and I did a drum session in Studio 3. And I've periodically came here to record all kinds of records, not just jazz stuff. And you know, the difficulty with Kamasi's records is that the band is huge. It's 2 drum sets, right? And not 2 dinky little jazz drum sets, it's 2 full drum sets. So the drum sets on its own takes around 30 channels. And then we have a huge keyboard rig with Rhodes, organ, clav, Moog, synthesizers, a few Nords. So that's another huge input list. We have a bass player that doesn't just play a regular upright bass. He plays it through pedals, and some of his signal chain runs through a guitar amp. So that's another huge list of inputs. Then you add piano and 4 horns. There's not very many studios where you could fit that kind of project into. And also, like, even just having a board that has the amount of channels here, a lot of studios don't have the board that has this many channels that work. So one of my suggestions that I had to Kamasi was to record here in Studio 2, because it does have the room and it has just enough isolation where I can isolate the 2 drums and then sort of make isolation points in the main room for piano and for the horns, and still not make it sound like too close, but make it sound like sort of airy. You know, everything here works. It works, and I love the mic collection that they have here and the mics that I brought in from Mojave. It seems to fit what we're doing physically, and then sonically, I have enough things here where I can make a great sound. So by the time we give it to the mixer, he's not really, you know, carving stuff out. He's more or less like having more fun, you know, figuring like out how to like present this record, you know, like as if he's an instrumentalist, you know. Russ Lovato does all of our mixes, and you know, he mixes everything analog out of the board, and you see him watch him mix, he's just in there, you know, doing his thing like he's playing an instrument. And if I send him crappy, you know, sounds, then he's gonna get in there and carve, and it's gonna wear him out. He's not gonna feel so inspired by it. So, you know, we really came in here because it's the most inspiring studio to create that kind of record. And Mojave microphones definitely tie into the sort of creative process and inspiration of creating a sound that is inspiring when you hear them. And that's the one thing that I really do like about Mojave microphones is everything I put them in front of, it sounds inspiring. You can take all kinds of mics, even a really expensive one, and you put it in front of an instrument, and you put it in front of a great preamp, you put it in front of a great compressor, and you bring it up, and it sounds like trash. You take a MA300 or a 301 even, and put it in front of a vocal or put it in front of a guitar, and you bring it up on a crummy preamp, and it sounds amazing, and it sounds inspirational. And you know, the type of records that I make, and especially the records that we've been making with Kamasi, having something sound inspirational is it's a big part of the process, because we're not just playing parts, we're tapping into our creativity. And that's one of the beautiful things I love about a lot of the Mojave microphones, is that when you hear them, it not only sounds good, but it's also inspirational. It sounds good in a certain way where it makes you want to use them more. It makes you want to record them more. I really love the MA301. I use it a lot on bass amps and guitar amps. It has a real like sort of clean sound that has enough bass response in it where it's not overhyped. When I bring it up, it sounds like the thing that I wanted it to sound like. You know, even if I don't really align it properly, like with the speaker, it still kind of sounds dope. And that's what you want out of a microphone. You want to put it in front of something and have it sound dope so that you're like, ooh, I'm gonna do this other dope stuff to make it sound even doper. You know, I use it on the Leslie. I really love the MA1000, use it a lot on vocals, percussion even, and of course the MA37 Genius microphone. That's sort of my secret weapon. I use it on drum overheads and percussion, vocals, even on flute sometimes. It just, you know, I've never put a Mojave microphone in front of an instrument and never been disappointed. And, you know, when you're in a studio like this and, you know, there's a budget and people are spending money, being disappointed can be detrimental to the creative process. And I think when you have a microphone and a microphone company that you can rely on, that will never disappoint you, that is invaluable. And it has been invaluable to my creative process, and it's been invaluable to Kamasi's creative process. You know, I've been sound engineering pretty much as long as I've been playing drums. I was fortunate to meet a mentor that taught me a lot about sound engineering and music tech and how to use computers and use synthesizers. And every day when I was practicing, you know, 8 hours a day, I'd go hang out with a 4-track or a synthesizer or a drum sequencer. And, you know, I was just doing it for fun when I was a kid. I didn't really know what it would lead to. You know, it's just better than going out and, riding a bike or going out and like making trouble outside. And then when I started meeting people that I wanted to be creative with, like Kamasi, you know, I would always use that knowledge to help us record stuff. You know, oh, we got to record a demo for this club, or we got to record a demo for of this song for, you know, so we can get this gig or whatever. And I think in the back of our mind when we were kids, we always dreamed of like, ooh, one of these days we actually go in a real studio and do this for real. And that day happened. You know, Kamasi and I, along with the other guys in his band and our collective, residency at this place called the Piano Bar down in Hollywood. Every Wednesday and Friday night. We played pretty much all the songs that are on Kamasi's first record in front of a, you know, live bar audience that was loud and didn't give a shit if it was jazz or not. They just wanted it to be great music. And so that's kind of how we tested our music back then. And we were like significant, like every song we played, these people would just go apeshit over it. And so I went to Kamasi, I was like, hey man, like we got a pretty big body of work here. Like, why don't we put some money together and like go into a real studio and like record this right? Like I'll engineer it, and we'll find a place that fits. But like we should like start on the dream now. Like maybe you'll get a record deal. And we recorded the Epic, and the Epic was a huge success. And we've been kind of just sort of snowballing that same desire ever since then. And to finally be able to come into a place like this, where I have the gear that I need, I have the room that I need it in, I have the microphones that I want to record in, and everything is up to par. You know, it's like before all we had was our talent. That's the only thing that was valuable that we had. So we could go with our talent and go record it on shitty gear, or go record it in some, you know, podunk home studio that sounded horrible. But at least our talent was there, and that was the thing that shined. And so now we're in a place where we're able to take our talent, which is also much better than it was when we were kids, and put it in front of other things that are on par with our talent. And then so now you have like a perfect situation. So now I'm not taking this talent, which is so high, and putting it in front of products that are so low. We can take this talent that's so high and putting it in front of products that are so high, and now we're making it even better of a product, and better of a recording, and a better sort of record, and you know, sound documentation of what it is that we're trying to communicate. And it really is, you know, looking back, it really is something that you know, brings me a lot of happiness and a lot of joy to see how far we've come, and you know, where our careers and where our initial inspiration has brought us to. And now it's, you know, just more joyful to come in here and create a great record, make it sound awesome, and have all the elements come together and have it be this beautiful piece of creation that is authentic and is displaying of the talent of all these people that I grew up with.